we will go ahead and start our program, and I will turn it over to President and CEO of the Southwest Indiana Chamber, Tara Barney.
Well, thank you. And thank you to so many of you for being with us today. It's great to see so many partners and colleagues that I work with day in and day out on this call, and some that I don't know yet, but each of you are enablers to this work we're trying to do together. So thanks for being with us today. While I have the podium, because I have to do this, I'm going to take just a couple minutes to thank some folks. I'm so pleased to see Mayor Winnicke on the call and Representative McNamara. Thank you not only for supporting these efforts, but all the efforts that you're supporting on behalf of our state and our region. We so appreciate it. I have to give a special shout out to my colleague and longtime friend, Ellen Horan, who's the president of the Growth Alliance for Greater Evansville, because she's the person that actually figured out how to orchestrate this great opportunity that we're going to talk about a little bit today. And Ellen is remote and not with us today, but she has been a great partner in putting this together. And I also want to take a special moment to thank Dr. Smith and Dr. Matt Thompson, our superintendents, and the other superintendents for being not only on the call, but for being so engaged with the broader community and how we educate and guide our talent. And I see President P is on the call too. So Mr. Prestichevich, thank you for being with us. The University of Evansville is kind of the heart and soul of our region, so it's good to have your time today. This is a conversation about talent. And some of the folks that are in this talent business have been in it for a while. Mackenzie Coulter is with us today on the call. Thanks for being with us, Mackenzie. She chairs our Workforce Development Board. It's one of the most impactful I've worked with anywhere in the country. So I'm honored to get to listen into those calls. And we also have a great partner in Sarah Wurstel, who heads up Work One here in the region. So, we've got a team of folks that are working to make sure that we are doing all we can to enable talent, and by enabling talent to enable our future. And I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that most of the people on this call are serving on our boards. You've been guiding us, challenging us, making it clear how important talent is to not just the business community, but to this community in general. So thanks for keeping the challenge on us and making this very intentional in the work we do together as a region. And finally, I just got to say, CivicLab and the Career Connections and Talent team have been great partners in helping us as a region to make sure that we are taking full advantage of the opportunities that the state of Indiana is providing to us to support this work and to align it with work that we have underway here as well. I'm going to take 1 minute just to set the status for those of you who don't know exactly where we are in the workforce game. We've got a workforce of about 165,000 folks here in this market. And of that group, my colleague Greg Wathan and many of you have been running some numbers, and we estimate that about 25,000 of those folks are easily marginally employed, they're unemployed, they're in a employment sector that's going to change materially over the coming months and years. So we know we've got a great workforce, but we have a workforce that has need for a proactive strategy to make sure that we are enabling their capabilities to serve our region, and more important, to serve their own households, to serve their families and themselves, so they can build a great career here in the Southwest Indiana market. The mismatch to that is we've got almost 13,000 job openings in our market right now today. And that's post-COVID. Our COVID impact is materially back to work. Our unemployment rate here is about 6% now. It was 15% during COVID, but a year ago it was 2.7%. So we are a region that has been very much high demand for talent. We are back to being pretty high demand for talent. So we've got both a challenge and an opportunity in front of us. But it is an opportunity to do better, and it's about doing better for our citizens, the people that live here, and for all of the employers in this market and the employers that we are trying to welcome into this market. I want to say a word about an initiative. There's Ellen Horan. Thank you for being with us. We just complimented you and thanked you for the great work you've done on this initiative, Ellen. So good to see you today. I want to say just a word about some work we have underway here. Talent 2025 is a moniker you've heard. It's really a very broad-based initiative of our business and civic and educational communities. It's aspirational as a start. We are very intentional about wanting to be the talent and economic region of choice here in the Midwest. And some on the call might say, that sounds audacious. Maybe it's a stretch. I'd suggest to you that it's not really a stretch. We've got, just on this call, we've got the enablers that can come together and make this work a reality for us. We've got great schools and universities. We've got a very enviable bi-state manufacturing economy that is leaning already into this tsunami of change that's coming in digitizing their work and the work of manufacturing worldwide. So we are already poised to have our door open to some of the great opportunities that are before us. We've got Indiana's newest, and I'm going to say best because I'm talking, the best medical school in this state. And it's a phenomenal partnership of 3 universities and 4 hospital systems that are sometimes competing, but they are also very much collaborating to make our medical school and the opportunities the Stone Family Center for Health Sciences puts before us part of where we're going in the future. Now, we've got a phenomenal logistics opportunity, to say the least. When 69 Bridge is built, we're going to be the epicenter of a corridor between the Great Lakes and the Gulf ports. So we've got massive opportunities to strengthen and build on the underpinnings of our current economic situation here. We got a little work to do. COVID, if anything, told us we've got to work hard on broadband. That's no surprise to anyone on this call. It's true all over this country, but it's going to be one of the opportunities for us to make our region do better and go faster. But above all, we've got a phenomenal workforce here. There's not an employer on this call that would argue with me on that topic. How we make sure that our workforce is enabled and trained and has the opportunity to build great careers here. A job is important, but a job that you want to go to every day is even more important. And I think that we've got massive opportunities. And I just got to say, because so many people on this call have been part of this effort, the work of regional cities in this market and the way it taught our region to come together in a not just collaborative, but enabling science here is something that we can build on. And the conversation today is allowing us to do just that. Not only do we have a great arts and music scene, but we're pretty good in the sports space. So if you haven't noticed lately, we've been landing some pretty nice opportunities. And yes, basketball's right there, #1, the Ohio Valley Conference, the NCAA tournaments, University of Evansville, and our other sports teams are huge assets. But now we've got some pretty good credibility in golf, and our sports corp is hitting it out of the park. So in the middle of COVID, we have been able to keep, I would say, good news coming at a regular pace. So it's an exciting time to be here, and I can say with certainty that I think our future is bright, and how we set the flag out in the future is going to poise us for even more success. It's really my great honor to introduce an individual to you who's, I think, changing the face of Indiana, and she's got the title and the team to do so. So let me introduce the first Secretary of Career Connections and Talent, Blair Milo.
Well, thank you so much, Tara, for all of your efforts and all of the team that you've worked with. It is such a treat for me to be here with everyone this afternoon, to see so many friends on the call here. I wish we had the chance to gather in person, but so great to be able to connect up, at least here in the ways that we're connecting these days. And I underscore second and third and fourth, all of the great things that you just shared, of all the cool things that we see happening across Southwest Indiana and in Evansville and beyond. I mean, I can think back to so many trips that I've been able to take and join, either Lieutenant Governor or Elaine's joined, I think, on a couple of times as well, where we've gotten to visit really exciting initiatives at places like Ameriqual and seeing really creative ideas happening in the downtown of Evansville, seeing really cool kind of co-working models coming together. So it's just always a treat to see the new things coming forward, the innovations that are happening at such a rapid pace that I love getting to spend time with everyone in the Southwest region. And so today is no exception to that in any way other than I'm just especially excited about the work that has been underway and to be able to celebrate that today as we also take this time to look to, okay, let's celebrate the work that we've been able to do, but also then drill in a little bit of where are we going next? What are some of the specific steps that we're taking to be able to accomplish some of the goals? And so while I have had the opportunity to visit with many of you over the last kind of couple of years, in fact, but certainly over the last year as we've been working on some of these specifics, I haven't had a chance to meet everyone. And just in case you haven't had a chance to connect up with some of the concepts of the 21st Century Talent Region Initiative, thought I'd just start with kind of level setting for everyone of the driver behind pulling all these things together is really kind of building off of some of the themes that Tara just mentioned of lessons learned through the regional cities, kinds of concepts of seeing so much value that comes from bringing all of our partners together to bear on how we affect change in really key areas that takes all of us working towards and that we can't do alone. Talent and attracting population, increasing education attainment levels, and moving folks up an economic mobility spectrum certainly are three key areas that require efforts from everyone across the community. And your region is an exemplary area for many parts of not only the state, but the country, and I think in many ways the world. And so the idea with 21st Century Talent Regions really came actually during a time when Mayor Winnicke and I were colleagues that we were seeing when I previously had the chance to serve as the mayor of LaPorte, that we were seeing that we were growing jobs in many different ways, but we were struggling to be able to connect people into those jobs. And as I was trying to dig further into what is it that causes some of these disconnects, you realize there's a whole lot of people doing great work in this space, but sometimes it can be confusing to understand who's all doing what where and how does it all come together to ensure that we are collectively affecting the goals that we're setting for ourselves. And what are those goals that we're setting for ourselves? Now, I think your region has certainly been ahead of the curve in many ways in being able to have some of these conversations. And so what we've thought is, could we create a model, a framework for being able to come alongside regions as you define yourselves, to be able to support whatever work is being done, and then think through, what do those next steps look like? How can we enable some of those pieces and tie it into a larger collective statewide framework so that then we have an opportunity for co-learning, for co-creation, and for us to be able to bring whatever support we can from the state, meeting you wherever that is, which in many ways is in exciting places for your region. Building off of the great work that you've done through regional cities, through the Great Southwest Plan and the Talent 2025 work that you've done already. And so what we're able to celebrate here today is then the accomplishment of kind of organizing some of those different pieces and drilling down a little bit into what are the goals that we're setting for ourselves within ways that we are looking to attract talent, and specifically measuring population growth, for developing talent and looking at particularly post-secondary educational attainment rates. That's of particular interest because we know that by 2025, at least 60% of jobs are going to require some sort of a post-secondary credential beyond a high school diploma. And so Indiana as a whole has some work ahead of us still in order to get our population to a place where we've got 60% of our Hoosiers connected up with some sort of a post-secondary credential, whether that's a four-year degree, whether that's pursuing that residency at one of your great medical school, whether that is having an industry certification, a two-year degree, the full gamut, wanting to make sure that we're connecting folks up to some sort of a credential so that they can connect into these really dynamic jobs that as technology is playing a bigger and bigger role in so many parts of our lives, then the jobs become much more technical and require some different types of training along the way. And so then thinking through how are we achieving some of our goals in that area, and also then looking at how we're connecting talent. How are we ensuring that people, once they get that training, are actually getting the job? That I've had conversations with folks about, you know, all the great resources that we have to be able to connect up to some different kinds of training opportunities. And I'll have someone respond to me of like, well, that sounds really interesting, but how does that lead to me getting a job? And so I think that it's critical for us to outline how does that connection point happen all along the way as we're bringing in the people, as we're ensuring that folks have opportunity towards education and training, and then connecting up to these really dynamic careers that we know our employers are creating and growing across the region overall. And so I'd love to bring up, and if one of my teammates can help me, the first thing that we do as a part of this process is develop a stakeholder engagement map. And so what you're going to see here first is the first thing that was put together that outlines, and we'll make sure that you have individual copies of this so that you're not having to do the eye chart of just staring at all of these different partners right now. But this at least gives you a sense of what I'm talking about with the stakeholder engagement map that shows all the different partners across Southwest Indiana that are engaged in this work of developing, attracting, and connecting talent. And as you can see with a very full chart here, that you've got so many great players who are doing awesome things across all these different systems. And what you see also is there's definitely overlap, because it is a system that is dependent upon making sure that we do all of these things, not just one of them of attracting, developing, and or connecting talent. And so this is the kind of the first tool that we walk through of, let's figure out who all we've got on the team that's doing different pieces and where. And then let's look at how we're moving, how we want to prioritize that based on what the data tells us, which Tara did a great job of outlining some of the kind of key data points as we know it right now, so that then we can look at, here's where we are. Let's see what the data tells us, at least of what we can know about where we're going to be as to what kinds of projections we see for different types of career opportunities. And then we'll map out how are we going to get there, really building on the stuff that we know is we've already got underway. And so that now we can see what's working, what do we maybe need to put more attention towards, maybe what do we need to pivot from, so that we can ensure that we're evaluating our effectiveness all along the way. So what you see in front of you right now is this talent dashboard that, again, builds off of tremendous work that has been done through the Great Southwest Plan, regional cities work, the Talent 2025 work. And then what you see on the left-hand side in the blue boxes are data points of where we're looking at the population right now, what we see for post-secondary education attainment levels, and then what we see for median household income is that lower left-hand box there. And in the yellow section, and again, you'll be able to look at these a little more closely on your own, but the yellow shows a number of data points that contribute towards those different factors of population, education attainment, and median household income. And I'm gonna move you actually to the lower right-hand corner, and then we'll come back to talk about this middle section. But the lower right-hand shows what we know as far as projections for kind of key industry areas for the region, and the career areas that are predominant within those industry areas. So again, the left-hand side kind of shows here's where we are, and the right-hand side, right-hand lower corner shows here's at least what we can project as to what we know for career needs and growth. And then that middle section starts to map out all those different pieces of different initiatives that you have underway for growing the population and setting some targets within there for how are we doing towards reaching the goals that we're setting for ourselves, and prioritizing some of those different initiatives, and all in the talent attraction, the talent development, and talent connection space. And so I can't thank everybody enough for the work that goes into this, because I think that there's a lot of important conversations that feed this work. And this gives you an opportunity for everybody to be able to see on one sheet of paper Now, generally we print these out on like 11 by 17 pages, and it's a fairly dense document, but you can see on one sheet of paper kind of who's all engaged in this space, doing what in various different places, and then some key elements as to here's where we are, where we're going, and how we're going to get there, and how we're doing all along the way. So it's great to be able to celebrate this milestone here today, but I want to make sure that I underscore it as a milestone and not the finish line. That in many ways that this is it's key for being able to drive the work going forward. But some of the harder work still comes in executing on all of these different kinds of ideas and making sure that we are hitting those benchmarks for the goals that we're setting for ourselves. But we're much better equipped to be able to do that now that we all have kind of similar information to be able to look towards and ways to be able to understand what are the things that we're evaluating to determine success along the way. And so these are great tools, but we're going to have to continue marching alongside as we, like I say, implement and grow some of these different kinds of initiatives. And it's been fascinating for me to see some of the conversations and the work that has come out. Your dashboard now reflects, I think, some key elements that more regions are going to have to consider, particularly as we think about remote work and the ways people connect to remote work, the opportunities to have people choose where they want to live, and then they can potentially, which has been a part of conversations previously, but now we know people can choose where they want to live, and they can do the jobs from just about anywhere in many different kinds of cases. And so how does that factor into some of our different efforts? And so I love that that was called out within the dashboard. And especially a lot of the work that the team has put into thinking about how do we provide equitable access for all Hoosiers to be able to connect to these different kinds of initiatives to ensure that we're connecting everyone to the kind of opportunity that we want to provide. I know you've included an inclusivity campaign as a part of talent attraction initiatives. So it's just phenomenal to see the kinds of work and the detail and thoughtfulness that have gone in so many ways that I think are going to continue leading not only your region, but providing other parts of the state some key insights into things to be considering as we're moving forward. And one of the great partners that we've had along the way as a part of developing this has been Secretary and CEO Elaine Beadle, who has been a part of this journey from the onset, recognizing the values that regional cities has brought forward, and certainly the importance of collaboration across a regional level. And Secretary Beadle and her team have been great thought leaders, thought partners, and during the onset of the 21st Century Talent Region Initiative, then she was serving as the president of the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, and has since, in Navy terms, we call it fleeted up into the role of being the secretary and CEO of the Indiana Destination Development Corporation, which is a new agency that she can share a little bit about with all of you as we think of how we tie in some of the talent attraction pieces into this, and how they're thinking of drawing people into Indiana, not only to experience some of the great kind of things that somebody would have on if they were visiting, but also want to live here and telling the story of that. And so I couldn't ask for a better colleague and partner throughout this process than Secretary Beadle. And it is my distinct honor to introduce her and have her share some thoughts about what this journey has been from the IDDC perspective.
Great. Thank you, Secretary Milo. It's great to be with everyone today. Good to see all of your faces. Tara, thank you for those introductory remarks as well. And Mayor Wenneke, always great to see you and all of your colleagues that are on the call today. Let me add my congratulations. And, as Blair was saying, there's a lot of work and time commitment that goes into this. This is not an easy task, but you've achieved this milestone, and I had no doubt that you would. Southwest Indiana is really accustomed to taking on big issues and accomplishing big things, as you all know, for your entire region. And as was mentioned, regional cities was part of that. And the idea of being able to use that program to really enhance your quality of place is a program that obviously we'd love to recreate, and hopefully sometime in the future we'll be able to do something like that as well, because it has worked so well, and you were a model in the accomplishments that you had, and it's something that the rest of the state really wants to achieve as well. As Blair said, I did transition from the IEDC to the Indiana Destination Development Corporation, a new quasi-government agency that was legislatively approved and put into place in the 2019 legislative session. We became official July 1st of this year. And basically, we're replacing the Indiana Office of Tourism Development, which is, a hospitality, leisure, travel industry here in the state of Indiana. But the governor and lieutenant governor did decide to kind of broaden the mission a little bit more. And so now it's all about promoting, branding, and telling Indiana's authentic story in order to attract and retain talent, students, business, as well as visitors. So it's really looking at it on a much bigger scale. How do we tell Indiana's story? How do we brand Indiana so that those outside of Indiana, as well as some of our own homegrown Hoosiers, really have a positive perception of what's going on here? We find so often, and maybe many of you on the phone or on this call have had the experience as well, you're trying to recruit maybe talent from outside the state. They love the job, but then they come back with, why would I come to Indiana? And it's not that they have a bad perception, they have no perception. So what we hope to do is to come up with the right messaging that says, this is Indiana's brand. We already have the brand. It's our virtues, it's our values, it's the fabric of Indiana, it's who we are. We just have to figure out how to say that and how to message that, be it through an icon, be it through words, whatever. And then work with all of the regions in the state to complement what you're doing in your own branding, to tell your own story. And hopefully we can magnify your story as well as we go through this. So I've been a big fan of regionalism. I'll continue to be a big fan of regionalism because I think that's how we can all work together and really accomplish great things. So, and as I mentioned, I think that the work we're doing is going to dovetail nicely into the work that you're doing. I mean, on your list of things, I did see that quality of life, quality of place assets, which again, that's leisure, hospitality, travel. That's what everybody wants to do when we're not working. And today's talent looks for those kinds of environments. Where do I want to live? Sometimes before they actually find the job. We have to have those pieces in place to really hit that attraction. And so that's what we're kind of all about. And I know you've got your great group of planners already. And if Visit Evansville isn't part of that, I hope they are. Oh, I see Tara's shaking her head, yes, that they are. Good, because I think having representatives from the Destination Marketing Organization visit Evansville, as well as from some of your major attractions in the region, will help bring that in. Because if you can look at, and we're going to give you some tools to do this, we're creating some tools that show all of the attractions and who's a major attractor and who is all the behind the scenes, filling in all the gaps on all the quality of life so that you can see what's missing. And then maybe we can work toward helping you kind of put those missing pieces into place and really be a major attractor to Southwest Indiana. So I could go on and on about that because I love what we're doing and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for the state. But I just wanted to say again, congratulations. And I know what you all can do down in that part of our state. So I have high expectations and I can't wait to see all the results. So congratulations again. And I'll pass it back over to Secretary Milo.
Well, thanks so much, Secretary Beadle. It's always a blessing to have your perspective and the passion that you and your team have for the work come and be a part of these conversations. And I know that the work is going to continue to be fascinating as you and your team partner with Visit Evansville and so many other folks across this region. So thank you for joining and for all of the efforts that you put forward. And now it's my pleasure to be able to introduce a leader whom I think many of you have interacted with on a regular basis and is probably most familiar to you as the former chairman of the Old National Bank, a role of which he served in for 14 years and received numerous awards. A couple of the highlights being recognized as the world's most ethical company and earning the Sagamore of the Wabash from then Governor Mitch Daniels. And certainly, as is often the case of restless problem solvers, that we've seen Bob Jones step into a role as a community leader and stepping up to challenges that 2020 has presented to us, and now serving as the fund champion for the COVID-19 Crisis Response Fund and the co-chair of Talent 2025's rapid reemployment efforts. So it is my pleasure to introduce Bob Jones to you to share a perspective of some of the different pieces that you see happening locally. So I'll turn it over to you, Bob.
Great. Thank you, Secretary Milo. And it's a great description of an old retired guy that has not much to do. So thank you. I do want to thank Secretary Milo and Secretary Bedell for being here. Your participation is really symbolic of the great public-private partnership that exists in our region. It exists with our states, our counties, and our cities is symbolized by having Mayor Winnecke on the phone. So it's great to have all of you here just to reinforce that. Before I begin my remarks, though, I'd like to just pick up one of the comments that Elaine made about people moving here I'm a guy that moved here 15 years ago. I can't imagine being anywhere else. And I'm happy to talk to anybody that wants to talk about moving to the Hoosier state and tell them why it's a great place to be. So in this process and this program is just going to reemphasize all of that. So again, it's great to be here. I want to start with a few thank yous, if you don't mind. I'd like to thank again Ellen Horan for her incredible leadership. Ellen put in countless hours and putting together all the data that had to be happening. Ellen, thank you so much, along with Tara Barney and Greg Wathen and Pete Paradosi. They're really the reasons we are here today. And again, it's just a great example of the great cooperation that exists in our region. So again, thank you for all of you. You both have done a great job of talking about regionalism, and it's really been the lifeblood of our area for some time. We were amongst the first regions to consolidate economic development organizations. I think back some 15 plus years ago when we had probably 30 plus organizations in the region focused on economic development and quite frankly, not doing the best job. And under the leadership of former Mayor Weinzapple and now Mayor Winnecke, we consolidated down to 5 organizations plus. And again, it's just been a terrific opportunity for us, and you see the results throughout the region. We've talked about regional cities quite a bit. We were so proud to be one of 3 regions to receive that recognition, but more importantly, we were so proud to take $42 million from the state and invest that and really invest $900 million behind the state. And again, you can go to Oakland City, you can go to Posey County, Gibson County, Evansville, and see all the results of regional cities. And that's why something like this talent, 21st century talent region is so important for us. But at the foundation of all of this has been talent and the war for talent. And it's so critical for our success. It's so critical for the state's success. And so today, while we celebrate this designation, as Secretary Milo said, this is just the beginning. But, we laid the path with Talent 2025 some 2+ years ago. We're making great progress with Pete Paradosi's leadership and Jeff Whiteside, the ERBC, United Way, Junior Achievement, the Wellburn Foundation, just so many organizations coming together to really ensure, as you say, Secretary Milo, that we take this and leverage it and make it even better. We look forward to the results. We look forward to showing the rest of the state how great things are in the Southwest. And we thank you for your participation. And more importantly, we thank both you and Secretary Bedell for your great leadership. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks so much, Bob, for sharing some of the perspective that you've seen and the experiences that you've had. And I know that Secretary Beadle's been looking for ambassadors to be a part of some of these conversations. So you may soon be voluntold into some different opportunities. So the danger of doing a good job at any point. So at this point, I wanted to say, echo again the thanks for all of the hard work that many people have put towards this. In many ways today, we're sort of preaching to the choir of the folks who understand the value of collaboration and also understand it's hard work, and not because there are necessarily personality disagreements, but just always happen to be thoughtful, intentional of making sure you're getting information out to everybody, reaching out to folks as to what different pieces are going on. But that hard work pays off. And certainly I think you've seen some of the gains of that already from some of the efforts with regional cities. And it's going to be exciting to see how that continues with many different pieces. And one of the traditions that we've had that we wanted to bring forward as a part of this process that I've appreciated through my military days is that when a commander recognizes things that have been done well by individuals within his or her command, then typically they provide what's called a challenge coin to somebody who has stood out in those different ways. And so we wanted to draw upon sort of that spirit of recognizing team members who are doing outstanding work, and that sense of camaraderie of being a part of the team as a whole. And so we did send forward the challenge coins that are provided to recipients of 21st Century Talent Regions. And so Tara is in charge of distributing those across the various participants. And so this is the design that's on the back. You have the seal of the 21st Century Talent Region, as well as then the seal of the state. And you'll have to ask a military member or somebody close with the military about some of the traditions of what can happen if you're found without a challenge coin on you in an establishment of particularly adult beverages, but we'll leave that to letting you determine what that folklore may be.
I'll be happy to demonstrate.
There you go. And so wanted to just recognize all of those efforts and thank you with a small token of then being a part of the 21st Century Talent Region team. And at this point then, it is my pleasure to be able to actually read through the proclamation that will distinguish you as a 21st Century Talent Region. Tara has the official copy there in front of us. And I'm going to go ahead and read this. To all to whom these presents may come, greetings. Whereas the state of Indiana has cultivated a strong and diverse economy to ensure Indiana remains an attractive destination for companies to start here and existing companies to reinvest, grow, and innovate here. And whereas Hoosier businesses, workers, communities, and students alike are impacted by rapid advancements in technology, changing their awareness of and access to infrastructure needed to ensure the skills necessary to compete in a global marketplace. And whereas talent attraction, development, and connection are keys to continued economic investment growth. And whereas growing 21st century talent is no longer the province of any single agency, organization, or unit of government alone, but involves collaboration across public and private sectors at the state, regional, and local levels. And whereas the 21st Century Talent Region Initiative was launched to ensure every student is on a learning path to adult prosperity, every adult Hoosier has access to training aligned to work with future growth opportunities, and every employer has the tools they need to recruit, train, and retain talent. And whereas the Southwest Indiana region has committed to working across geographic lines to attract, develop, and connect talent while working together with the Office of Career Connections and Talent, Indiana Economic Development Corporation, and CivicLab, the region is developing a data-driven plan to grow population, increase educational attainment, and raise household income. And whereas the Southwest Indiana region, which encompasses the Evansville Metropolitan Statistical Area, including Gibson, Posey, Vanderburgh, and Warwick counties in Southwest Indiana, along with Henderson County in Kentucky, commenced implementation of priorities identified in the Talent 2025 plan, as well as receive a designation as a 21st Century Talent Region. The region identified goals to, by 2025, 1, leverage the power of place to grow the region's population by 2.8%. 2, utilize their homegrown learning system to increase educational attainment with credentials beyond high school from 23.2 to 25%. And 3, focus on equitable economic opportunities to advance median household incomes from $47,914 to $55,042. Now, therefore, I, Eric J. Holcomb, Governor of the State of Indiana, do hereby designate the Southwest Indiana region as a 21st century talent region and invite all citizens to duly note this occasion. So congratulations on receiving this designation. And before I turn it over to Tara to close, I just want to draw your attention a little bit to that last paragraph that I mentioned of the very specific goals that have been outlined that are pieces that we talked through as a part of this process to indicate that this is very much a work in progress. The dashboard, the stakeholder engagement map are living documents. They are meant to be operational for us to continue working towards those specific, measurable, achievable, time-bound goals, so that then we can hold ourselves accountable to the work that we have ahead of us, which goes back to the points that Bob and Tara have alluded to, of that our work is still ahead of us. And so I thank you all very much for the tremendous efforts that have gotten us to this point today. And I am so excited to continue walking alongside this incredible team with the innovative approaches that you bring forward, the thoughtful analyses, and the careful collaboration that you continue to cultivate across the region. So thank you for all of this tremendous work. I look forward to the days when we're able to gather in person to celebrate some more milestones that I have no doubt we're going to continue progressing towards with the continued collaboration. So thank you, Tara, and I'm going to turn it back over to you for any final comments that you may have today.
Well, thank you, Secretary, and I will be brief, but on behalf of the 50 people on this call and the many, many more that are working in this space, we appreciate your work with us to achieve this designation. It's no small feat. Every one of you that saw that chart, I'm sure had shock and awe, but I assure you that it's well thought through, and it does represent the many assets we have in our region that are already at the table, already engaged in this work. So it's our opportunity, and frankly, it's our responsibility to make sure that we use these great assets and do exactly what we've talked about today. Make sure that we are providing every citizen in our region with the skills and the capacity that they need to build a life that they want to keep right here in Greater Evansville. And I'm going to say on behalf of the employer community, who actually are my bosses, it's critical to our ability to continue to grow our GDP, to make this a region that continues to be very receptive to employers and to the businesses that have called Southwest Indiana and Greater Evansville home for many decades and will for many more. So my promise to you, my friends, is I've got these for you, and I will make sure that all of you that are good enablers not only receive a challenge coin, but get it quick and dirty on its purpose if you need it. And I'm honored to have the proclamation in my hands. We'll get it digitized and make it more broadly available and find a place of appropriate substance for it to be displayed here in our community. But I'm going to just close by saying we could not do this without not only the financial and personal support of so many folks on this call, but the fact that they are harnessing their organizations, their resources, their mission to adjust and to align to make this work really purposeful and to give us a path to success. And I think we've got one. I'm thrilled with today's announcement, and we are proud to share it with our community. And thank you so much for making it happen. Appreciate your time, both Secretary Vadel and Secretary Milo, and all of you on the call today. So onward to do more good work.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And I don't know if we had any members of the press who had joined us this afternoon. And if so, then Tara and I are happy to stay on the line to answer any questions that folks may have.
Thank you everyone for joining, and that concludes today's designation.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day. I'm just muting for a second.
Hmm.
Did you want to shoot your mouth?
Huh?
It takes a long time.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
You give Blair a microphone and she,
Say anything. Jay, I see you're still on the call. You want to have a conversation?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one of our producers or reporters reach out to you probably in a few minutes. I think we have a lot of them out doing some COVID stuff right now, but
Sure.
I'm going to have them reach out and if you guys are available, maybe have some questions. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank
on
you.
this. So that
That
is
would be
good. So
great.
I'll have them reach out to you. Okay. Later on, hopefully
We
within the
appreciate the
next hour
attention.
or so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
certainly.
Thank you.
Hi,
Thank you.
Justin.
Hey, I was waiting there. I didn't know when the right time to pop in would be. I didn't want to I didn't want to jump and interrupt people. Tara, I'll be totally honest with you. I missed about the first 5 minutes of this due to another meeting before this. When I jumped in, you were talking about the importance of broadband, and I completely missed that. Can you kind of go over that again?
Yeah, well, the larger point I was making is that one of the assets we have as a region is, kind of our geography. And so everyone thinks about our great logistical connections because we've got a great port, we've got great rail, we will have a phenomenal interstate system when we finish a bridge. But the flip side of that is we've also got to pay attention to the other critical infrastructure our region needs to be able to fully succeed. And that is taking the lessons of the COVID months, which are, whoa, we can't do as much as we thought we could do without more broadband capacity, and really amping up our focus on that. So that is certainly a high priority of the Chamber and of our partners in the Economic Development Coalition. And it's one that the state of Indiana has made comparable commitments to, and I'll let Blair speak to those, but we are we recognize that deserves us all putting our shoulder to the wheel to really make sure that all of our region has access, so they can go to school, they can work remotely, they can, engage in the work of building our region. So,
Sure,
that's a
yeah.
priority of ours. Yeah. Blair?
No, of course. That's great.
Well, and I would just say, we certainly second the importance of wireless and broadband connectivity. And so you've seen the next level connections continue to be supported. And I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but we had grants like the Gear Up grant, which provided some assistance towards school corporations. And so continues to be a priority for growing internet access across the state in both our urban and rural populations, which have some different needs as to what the kind of technical requirements are, but certainly continue to have a focus on ensuring that every Hoosier has access to internet connectivity.
Sure. And
If
so,
you're
yeah,
interested in exploring this a little more, Audrey Burkhardt, who is with the Economic Development Coalition, is a savant in this space. She's got the data. She knows where our region is. We'd love to have you pay attention to the issue because it's important. And Audrey could really be a good source for you on that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that'd be great. And in fact, if it's not me, then I know our rural reporter, Brock Turner, who I think actually has been down there in Evansville a little bit more than I am. But yeah, I know he's very interested in this as well.
Great,
So,
great.
and I'm thinking out loud here, but I also think too, it could be an interesting time with the pandemic, right? Now that we're all working remotely, getting broadband in places like Evansville, maybe more rural remote areas.
That's been the big surprise. You're right.
Yeah. People moving out of cities maybe and into more suburban or rural areas. So interesting. Cool. That's
And I
really
would
all I have.
highlight that the Southwest region included as a part of their dashboard a focus on remote workers and being able to draw more remote workers to the region. So that underscores their dedication to the importance of the infrastructure with internet connectivity.
Sure, yeah, and I think that's the part that I probably joined in the middle of or something.
Okay.
So, cool. All right. Well, thanks so much. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Justin.
Thanks.
I'm looking at people on the call. Is Zach someone that's with the media and has a question? Maybe not. I think we might have covered it, Blair.
All right. This is always the fun part of the meeting because then it's a guess as to did we get everybody's questions?
Yeah. Well, believe me, they'll find me if they've got one. So
there you go. Yep. Excellent. Well, Tara, thank you again so much for all of your efforts, for your leadership in pulling all these different pieces together. And we're excited truly to keep working through different next steps. We've been having conversations already about kind of where we want to take the designated regions to moving next, particularly informed by the goals that everybody has outlined. And so making sure that we're providing tailored assistance to what you're seeing as priorities moving forward. So as we develop those in the next, month and a half or so, then we're going to be chatting with everybody about kind of next steps, and all of which is going back to our conversation before we kicked off. I think the fun stuff of getting to innovate and create where we see the work needs to take us. So,
well, I've been in economic development for many, many, many years, and talent is really the only conversation there is right now. So,
well, I might be slightly biased towards it, but I think it is the most important conversations. So thank you, and look forward to connecting up again, and let us know if there's anything we can be helpful on as you're working towards pieces, and we look forward to chatting soon.
We'll do it. Have a good day.
Take care of yourself.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.